The 12th June 2022 Sunday night ABC TV News had Alan Kohler tell Australians that the Governor of the Reserve Bank owes an apology for his forecasts on interest rates. An apology will not stop Australians losing their homes and businesses. Only Liberty Tax can stop inflation. Stop increasing interest rates. Stop increases in home and business loan repayments. No Australian needs to lose their home or business. Please see this video, Save Australians' Homes and Businesses with Liberty Tax, and demand Liberty Tax from your Prime Minister. Derek Smith is the author of this video. Let me show you how Liberty Tax can save your home and business. Hello, fellow Australians. Would it surprise you and perhaps shock you that tax and government charges are 50% of the price to build a new house, of a loaf of bread, an Aussie pie, a litre of fuel, a week's childcare and a week's aged care?
Hello, I'm Derek Smith, Chartered Accountant. I have 60 years knowledge and experience for business and tax.
Let me show you how 50% of these prices is tax and government charges, and how we can avoid increases in inflation, interest rates, home loan repayments, and with no risk of losing your home. Let's explain. In the 1960s, one take-home pay could pay for your goods and services. It could buy an Australian-made car, an Australian-made refrigerator, TV, washing machine, and everything for your home. One take-home pay could pay the home loan mortgage and 4 weeks of annual holiday. That is what a single 1960s take-home pay could buy with the taxes at the time. In 1971, the Australian market opened up to goods and services from communist China. Progressively, Australians couldn't buy goods and services made in Australia. They had to buy goods and services made in China. As unemployment increased, taxes increased, which increased prices of goods and services. Government had to increase taxes to meet its increased costs. One take-home pay could no longer pay these tax-increased prices. So Australians, as a single person, had to share, and couples and families had to have 2 take-home pays. The government progressively added more and more tax: fringe benefits tax, superannuation contributions, which are effectively a tax, capital gains tax, and of course, the 10% GST. So progressively, Australian prices full of tax are no longer affordable, even with 2 take-home pays. Now we have record inflation. We all know it. Interest rates are increasing. Home loan payments are going to increase, and inevitably, Australians are going to lose their homes. But what if I told you that there is an easy way to reduce these prices by taking off existing taxes on employment, on businesses, and the 10% GST? So you see, take-home pay can more than afford to pay these reduced prices. Australians can pay their home loan mortgage and increase their spending. So with more spending, there will be more jobs. With more jobs, there'll be more take-home pay and revenue for government. And we're all going to pay less tax in all prices. Now you say, okay, how are we going to fund government to fund all the things that government does for us, such as education, health, disability, pensions, and of course defence? There is a very simple way to do this. Everyone and every business, including multinational companies and other entities, pays a single 2 cents in the dollar tax on all spending at the reduced prices of all goods and services, and on all changes of ownership into, within and out of Australia. The 2% tax revenue and other existing government revenue will fully fund the reduced expenditure of government. Taking existing taxes out of existing prices and adding 2% tax is a controlled, accountable process. Shoppers can have an app on their smartphone to check the reduced prices and report to the Compliance Authority prices that have not been reduced. Importantly, the marketplace will enforce compliance, so if a business does not reduce its prices, shoppers will go elsewhere and owners will lose their business. Business pays the 2% tax on the cost of employment, in other business costs, and on its prices of goods and services. So these prices are less the existing taxes and inclusive of the 2% tax. With these new reduced prices, the price to build a new house, presently $345,000, becomes $220,000, a savings of $125,000. And that's not even the end of the savings. With the borrowing less by $125,000, there is less interest to be paid, and the reduced borrowing can be paid off early to reduce interest costs and to fully own your own home, a big win for homeowners. A loaf of bread, presently $2.60, reduces to $1.90. An Aussie pie, $4.70, becomes $3.05. A litre of fuel at $2 becomes $1.40. A week's childcare at $400 becomes $292, and a week's aged care at $385 becomes $281. A big win for all Australians. Now, in 1985, Derek Smith modelled 2% tax and presented it to Prime Minister Bob Hawke for his tax summit. Derek did not get a reply. Since then, Derek has remodelled 2% tax and sent it to every Prime Minister with no replies. Nobody's interested in talking about tax. Tax is killing Australia. 2% tax, now called Liberty Tax, can save Australians. So if you want to be liberated as an individual and to have your business liberated with a single page tax return for everyone, and if you want Australian goods and services liberated so that they can compete against goods made in China, you need to make it happen by flooding social media and demand Liberty Tax from your Prime Minister. Demand and 1. Act to update the Liberty Tax model. 2. An act to implement Liberty Tax by no later than the 1st of July 2025. Derek Smith is the author of this video and has authorised its release to all Australians and other freedom-loving people of the world.